Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What Is Your Mod? And so, Gabe, what is your mod?
Hello, my mod is the Dark Ages Britain mod for Field of Glory 2. I've been working on it for a little while with design feedback from Stockwell Pete and Cronenblatt from the forums. And basically, it's a mod directed in kind of a narrow but deep way on the Dark Ages combat of Britain from about 400 AD to about 1000 AD, taking inspiration from some wargaming historians like Guy Halsell and Ian Heath, and some of the Field of Glory tabletop books like Wolves from the Sea and Legions Triumphant.
I heard that
It
this is
features
like mostly, was it Anglo-Saxon versus Viking?
Anglo-Saxon versus Vikings is the core matchup, and there's a lot of rule set changes around shield wall adjacency bonuses, anarchy charges and refusals, some flank changes, some command and control changes, designed around representing that kind of shield wall combat, and army lists that get into more detail with different types and qualities of shield wall units. But it does have a list from 400 to 1000 AD, so from late Roman and Romano British type garrison units all the way up through kind of just before Hastings,
Wow, that's like
later
a lot of
Viking.
work.
Sorry.
that's a lot of work you've put in there, covering
Yeah,
all
there's a
that.
decent there's a decent number of lists. We started out with just the Anglo-Saxons and Vikings, but we expanded out to include late Romans, Romano British, early and later Brythonic list, early and later Pictish list, the Welsh, early and later Scots Irish, kind of middle, early, and later Anglo-Saxons, and then some of the also the early Scots, the Norse Irish, and some Viking lists.
Okay, well, first thing we should do is get it installed, because as much as I want to sit here and look at my desktop all day, I would like to be playing the mod. Okay, so we'll begin with you have a thread which I'm going to link in the Twitch chat, and it will also be in the YouTube description where people can go and get this.
Awesome.
Okay, so here's the page up on my screen. Everyone can see that.
And I'd also like to mention credit for the non-vanilla skins and banners goes to Little Big Men Studios and Stephen Hales for permission to use them, and also to Weog of the Total War Center for the Dark Age shield textures. Really helps to make those. The shield wall is nothing without the shields, right? So
Yeah.
definitely looking
No,
for.
that's pretty good. Um, so the download link is here. I'm sure I don't need to explain to anybody how to download a file from Google Drive, but there are tutorials for that. Now, I've already downloaded it because it's not huge, but at half a gig, it would take a little bit to download. I wouldn't say it's enormous, but it's big enough to take take me 5 minutes on my optical to download, and many people who don't have the blessing of optical internet will take a lot longer. So I've pre-downloaded it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just too big to fit in the in-game download, so you will have to download from the forum. But that goes for most of the major mods. So
Okay, so I've opened up your zip file and I see Dark Ages mod 1.6. Now, my understanding is that we just dropped this folder into the My Documents, My Games, Field of Glory 2 campaigns folder. Is that correct?
that's correct for custom battles, and you can drop it into the multiplayer folder, and it will also work for multiplayer battles.
Okay. So I'm going to drop it into campaigns. And then I'm going to drop it into multiplayer, just to show people that they can do that too.
Awesome.
This process may look a little different depending on your zip program. I'm using WinRAR. Most people will probably be using... Well, actually, they got no choice. You have to use WinRAR because it's a RAR file. So... Or you might be using 7-zip, but that's even more nerdy than WinRAR, so... I don't think Windows standard zip packager supports RAR files, so you will have to go and grab WinRAR. Or 7-zip.
Cool.
Okay, so as we can see, the folder is now here in the documents, or my documents as it's sometimes called, My Games, Field of Glory 2 campaigns. These folders should already exist if you've got the game installed, so you should be able to find them pretty easily. And that's it. That's it for the installation, isn't it?
Yes, and it's worth mentioning that the PDF describing the changes in the mod is also at the link. So the basic changes of the mod we've sort of gone over, but there's a decent number of small details as well. So
Cool. Well, let's fire up the game, and then we'll go from there.
cool.
A Field of Glory stream without Richard York in it. Woo! Alright, here we are in Field of Glory. I think I have the music disabled because I played so much of this game that even though I think the music is really good, it's started to drive me mad, if you know what I mean.
In fairness, I do the same. Or I can let
It's like, no matter how good a bit of music is, okay, if I have to listen to it on loop for hours and hours and hours, it could be the best song on earth, but I am gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Right, so where should I go? Where best to explore the mod's content?
Battles.
Battles.
Custom battles.
Custom battles.
And then load in the module with the module load in button there.
Yeah, because this is... I think most people actually overlook this. So it's this little button up here that kind of looks like a load of files disappearing into the distance. And I think a lot of people don't realize what this does, but in here we have your mod. And if you were playing Field of Glory Medieval, you would have the Time Warp module, which is really fun.
Yeah. Worth mentioning that I've got an Anarchy charge, or Anarchy mod only for Medieval as well, if that interests you, if you want some impetuous knights, by the way.
Oh, just what I want. More randomness. I've gained a bit of a reputation for having like a really high level of skill and being cursed with the absolute worst luck imaginable.
Well, you'll be in for even more randomness here. Charging when you don't want to, refusing, it's all over the place.
Alright, so, Army, what would you recommend for first play of your mod?
First play for that core list to really go deep on the shield wall rules, I would recommend Late Anglo-Saxons versus Vikings classic list. Optionally, the mountable third. Maybe don't do that for now, but there is a function, a mechanic in the mod where to represent this sort of dismountable infantry unit that doesn't fight mounted, but that moves on more the operational level of war mounted. There are versions of the Middle and Late Anglo-Saxon list where the Fyrd can mount up in deployment, move as oversized cavalry units, but that don't really have very good cavalry stats, and then dismount once. So you get a little of that flavor of the operational level of war, where the Vikings might have a little bit higher quality units, but you can maneuver to maybe a better position in those first 2 to 3 turns. And you might want to do a larger map size if you use those as well.
Okay, so should we just do an open battle, or is there any particular battle type you recommend?
Yeah, just open battle. I mean, of course, do whatever type you like, but I tend to do open battle. There are some tweaks, both to the AI, and generally the open battles in the mod don't involve the occasionally random reinforcement mechanic. All of the enemy units should be deployed initially. But yeah, late Anglo-Saxons versus Vikings. I did make some map type edits where, like, North European agricultural or agricultural in general is a little bit flatter than in vanilla, just to kind of facilitate shield wall battle.
Let's choose North European agricultural. It makes sense for this matchup.
Yeah, it's still saying Mediterranean agricultural there. Is that right?
Yeah, there's all kinds of map types here.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason, on the map type selection, it's still saying Mediterranean, even though you've clicked North European.
Oh, I see what you mean. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that might be a recent.
Might be something to do with the yeah, something to do with the way that the mod interacts with the latest update. Of course,
yeah.
Just to let everybody know, Swifter Than Eagles, the last DLC for Field of Glory 2, has just come out. Just a few weeks ago, it came out. So obviously, modders are currently in a rush to integrate the latest changes that have come from the last DLC.
Maybe try potluck there on the map type, just to make sure it's North European, or see if it changes at all. Actually, if you click.
Nope, it doesn't want to change. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hopefully it will be.
Let's go and let's see what happens. And if we end up in the Mediterranean, then we know.
Yeah. And then one thing you'll see here is that the map is actually covered on unit selection. I thought there was a little bit too much min-maxing when you can recruit your army while looking at the battlefield. And so although you should generally know the type, agricultural or whatever, you won't be able to recruit units to exactly match the random arrangement of rough and open terrain and so on.
Okay, I cannot see the map, so I guess I'm just going to select blind.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's the idea.
Alright, so we have Saxon Armoured Riders. Looks like a pretty standard unit.
Yep.
Extra Generals.
Yeah, unlike vanilla, you can purchase generals in the mod, and the points system accounts for that. So you can purchase generals. The idea being, that was in Field of Glory 1, I think. It just to give you a little more flexibility there if you want to spend your points that way or not.
Cool. Then we have Huskarls with Dane axes.
Yes, there are some modest changes to heavy weapon stats to kind of account for both the Dane axes and the Irish axemen. But basically, the main point here is that, like offensive spears, these Huskarls with Dane axes also have shield wall bonus. Because this unit is kind of meant to be also a shield wall, but just a higher proportion of them have Dane axes, is kind of how I've heard it described.
Okay, and then we got the pretty standard Huskarls with a more typical spear.
Yeah.
Eldermon's Guard?
Yeah, every faction has a mandatory minimum and maximum one of like a chieftain type unit. The Alderman's Guard, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but this is like the kind of the CNC's guard type of unit. You don't have to put the CNC on it, but it's basically a half-sized elite unit to give a kind of a little flavor of like all of these units are actually quarter-sized by comparison with vanilla, and so the idea being that it's kind of a period of local chieftain-style warrior leadership, and so to kind of reflect that.
And then we have a Fjord with Thegens?
Yeah, Thanes. This is the old spelling of
Thanes.
the Anglo-Saxon Thanes here. And so basically, where the mod has a more variety of type and quality of units of the same type, just to kind of let you lean into that quality versus quantity type selection, so there's more options for what is otherwise like a fairly straightforward shield wall battle. And so this would be a unit where there's a higher proportion of Thanes, and so especially in kind of the front ranks there are more men with better armor, so it's an above average and some armor rather than an average.
Thanes, their retainers, and freedmen equipped at their expense.
Yes, so this is kind of the bulk of the Fyrd here, the average Fyrdman, and there's also the kind of the general Fyrd.
So what's the anarchy stats here? We have eager, does not anarchy, that's self-explanatory. Restrained, I think that's all I have for the moment.
There's warrior as well. You won't have any warrior units on this list, but warrior level of anarchy is like a base of about 85% chance to anarchy, where basically you can just assume that unit will anarchy charge. Whereas these units are restrained enough that so long as they remain in command range and their general isn't dead, and so on, they're very likely to do what they're told to do and to not anarchy charge. So that's one of the big divides between the mod and vanilla, is that part of the faction balance is anarchic versus non-anarchic type of factions, and so in vanilla you have total control over every unit. There's no anarchy charging, but in this, one of the advantage of certain faction types is that they're systematically more disciplined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
One other thing is, I do
Deployment.
recommend that. Yes, I do recommend that you add lights. That you assign lights a general as well, because they won't be able to rally if you don't. Units can only rally in command range. Kind of helps clean things up a little bit. You don't get as many like rallied from fragmented on the map edges.
Okay, this is a very, very open field I'm staring at right now.
Yeah, it does look like it shows Mediterranean agricultural there, interestingly.
Okay, well, not to worry.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with... just thinking, like, who I should bring and where. I like to have the units, the sort of more average units in the middle, and have my toughest units on the edges, right? To prevent, basically, you know, to prevent an attack on the edge destroying the line, if you know what I mean.
Right, yeah. You'll versus the Vikings here, you'll likely outnumber them a bit. They'll have a higher quality core, and they'll also have a bit of higher quality lights. They'll have more dedicated kind of Viking longbowmen, and they may have a few units of bowmen as well. On that topic, it's worth mentioning that because these units are smaller than vanilla units, they're quarter sized. A bowman unit plus a spearman unit together would still be only collectively half the size of, say, a Skutatoy type unit from vanilla. So one rule change is that archer units, light and bowman, can fire through other non-light infantry if they're adjacent to them and that other non-light infantry is not in combat. So basically, you can line up your bowman right behind your line and shoot just over it. And
Okay.
the adjacency rules are, if you've got it's plus 20 POA per side that's in adjacency for non-light spearmen, and then it's a plus 1 to CT if they've got full adjacency or both sides. A unit also can't suffer a 90-degree auto drop flank if it's in full adjacency. So there's no the kind of the so-called midline flank auto drop can't happen, if you know what I mean.
Here's Alderman's Guard here. So the reason why I'm putting this really powerful special unit at the back is if the unit with the general in crumbles, I will use this group to hoover up the general as he flees. If that makes sense to you.
Yes. I think I'm trying to remember if they changed the rules with moving a general from a unit that's routed. If you can still do that.
I hope so. If I can't, then this is a bad idea. But hey.
Yeah, I think maybe you can't. But although one thing worth mentioning is that rather than being totally unable to move generals while they're in combat in the mod, you can just move them one square. So the general can shuffle over to like the next unit in line, but can't move the full command range distance. And I thought that was important to represent this idea that in the mod, most of the generals are a kind of warrior type chieftain who might move while in combat along the line to shore up the line with their own example, right, of fighting.
trying to figure out. I've always sort of tried to figure out how to which units are in which command group is decided.
Oh yeah, so click a unit, click any given unit without a general, then yeah, click the one next to it, and then right-click on the one with the general while that first unit is selected. So yeah, and then press that like grid button. So you'll want to do that actually with basically every unit. You want to give them all a command. And it's worth mentioning that when it comes to counting as being in command or not, a unit either has to be within command range of its specific subgeneral that it's assigned to, or of the CNC. The Commander-in-Chief gives it to every unit. So generally worth assigning each unit a subgeneral, because then they kind of double up with the subgeneral and the CNC.
Okay. Mystery solved.
Cool.
Okay, it's not quite.
If you move the unit, there's something in vanilla where being in or out of command tends to not register until while on deployment until you move to the general again. You can even just move the unit with the general. You see how now they're all dark highlighted, showing they're in command there.
All right, cool. We have correctly actually set up this army now. So this group is in command of this general, and this group is in command of this general, and we're good to go.
And command status should also be reflected on their UI there. You can see the anarchy is on the there's the anarchy listed, and then underneath AP and strength there's whether they're in command. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing as well.
Okay, I think we're good to go. Here come the Vikings.
We're mentioning line of sight reduced in the mod a bit, so it makes hiding units a bit more of a kind of a plausible endeavor. You can kind of see how they were emerging out of the fog there when we first started.
As I'm just gonna cut down the chatter. Just so we can hear you a bit better.
Sure.
Okay. Wow, they're just running at me, aren't they?
There are some AI tweaks in the mod. Skirmishers deploy front and center instead of to the flanks. Generally, the enemy will advance to meet you, and they stay in alignment a little bit longer. Although that's a very difficult AI problem to get an AI to stay in formation the whole time. But hopefully
Stay on target.
Get a real shield wall going.
This general here in the cavalry has got an easy job. He's got like one group of cavalry to lead, that's it. Easy job, but not necessarily the safest job, right?
Yeah. Those Bondi Bowmen have some non-trivial melee capability, one of the themes of the mod is that kind of in this Dark Ages period, there's light and medium infantry. So not so much on this list, but on a lot of the barbarian type of lists, the Lightfoot with melee capabilities, Irish Currents and that sort of thing. And then the Last Protection will have some sort of capability, and they'll actually be permitted to charge fragmented.
All right.
Fragmented non-lights.
I'm gonna turn down the sound a little bit more.
Okay.
I feel like you're being drowned out just a little bit there.
Okay. Oh, also worth mentioning that
They've got pretty
units
flags.
can run out of ammo. They've got, if you see there, do you see, if you look at the ammo on the, if you select a ranged unit and you can see, that one's got full, but if you click your own, you see it's got 4 turns. They'll have 5 turns of full shot and 5 turns of half shot effectiveness. This is kind of to discourage camping to some degree, but so some of us working on it kind of felt design-wise that allowing what is effectively infinite ammo can sort of enable camping sort of stuff a little bit too much. So the shooting is actually slightly more effective, but you don't have as many full strength shots. It's not that noticeable if you move towards each other as you're doing, but if you wanted a really extended skirmish, you would run out of ammo.
Stand firm, men. Oh, that hurt. They charged my slingers, and my slingers did not run away. They took the fight. That's interesting. Normally, slingers leg it when charged.
Yeah, they do a calculation where if they think they can get away or not. I know that calculation is affected by non-lights in charge range. So if you move your non-lights up close to where the lights are, enemy lights are likely to run away because they kind of calculate they could be caught by those non-lights. I'm not sure if maybe if it goes the other way as well, where the evading unit calculates whether they can get behind their own line.
But the AI have brought their generals hard on the left flank here.
Yeah. They may, Viking style, they may try to break through kind of leaders at the front there. You won't notice it in this game because these aren't anarchic armies, but one thing you can do is use your lights to goad out anarchic units into charging where they ought not to.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, it must be incredibly frustrating when your wall breaks because that happens, but yeah.
It's one of those mechanics that I think kind of opens up new sort of tactical horizons in the mod. Especially if you do an interesting matchup can be like the sub-Roman or Romano-British versus the Saxon Raiders, where the Saxon Raiders are all highly anarchic warband with really high deep impact and anarchy charge bonuses, but they're so anarchic they can be kind of let all over the place. So that's kind of how the balance works.
Gonna move this cavalry to threaten the side. So I'm using a technique here which some people may recognize, which is where I've created 2 holes to let the slingers through. Is that necessary in this mod still? If they decide to leg it?
No, light units can, in vanilla and the mod, can fall back through the non-light line. Just as you can move them up through it. They should be able to run away through your non-light line.
Well, normally when they're getting chased, they don't efficiently move through other units, so then they get stuck in front and get murdered.
Yeah, they do have to be straight on there to do the fallback through.
Though this technique works because they need 1 less square to retreat. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm suspecting that it's the same.
Yeah, that should help you out if you're looking to get them out of there.
Final chance to refuse orders, 60%.
Yeah, disrupted and outside of command range, and it's a raw unit. These the Anglo-Saxon don't really systematically fight as Lightfoot. These are this Geberos is sort of like a quasi-inserfed peasant caste of kind of Anglo-Saxon society with sort of a low morale, so they're not gonna melee very well. The Vikings have a thrall unit that's similar as well, but spear throwers. But they may not have taken any.
Oh. Looks like they're taking the bait.
They've brought a decent number of bowmen.
Yeah, their bowmen are in the back though. Well, some are in the front, but
It'll be good to see if they manage to make use of the kind of shooting up through the line there.
oh, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah, that was a decent number of kills for the quarter-size unit.
Okay, wow, they're just walking into the buffalo horns here. That's good. That's good. I pass. Medieval FOG empires win. You know I can't answer that, Mike. People are like, because you know I work for Slytherin, so people are always like, "Hey, when's the next DLC / new game coming out? Release date, etc."
Oh yeah.
Of course, I can't tell you. What do you want from me?
I played a lot of. I guess it's the medieval one will be kingdoms, not empires, but I played a lot of empires.
Yes, it's kingdoms. These generals are brave. Look at them. I'm sure that they will be difficult to take down, though.
Yeah, they're definitely coming for you. Hopefully they bring those reserves up fast enough to prevent a flank, but they probably won't.
I'm just being nice and annoying. Here comes the cavalry. Yeah, I mean, stacking... Someone's saying so many generals side to side. Stacking all your generals on one side is not always a terrible strategy, but I'm not really sure. Because you can... Because it provides, like, quite a lot of additional POA. So, a tightly grouped general push can sometimes break a line very, very effectively, but... I don't think that's what the AI is going for here. I think they just stacked all their units on one side and called it a day, so...
Looks like they're doing a decent job of plugging some of those holes. Hopefully they do.
The battle is joined. Steady will full shield wall, will not refuse. Win 12, draw 74, lose 14.
Yeah, all the refusal and anarchy charge stuff is in the tooltips and the combat log.
Let's go. Wow, that was bad luck on my part. Let's see how well their luck holds out when they're being attacked by 3 squads at once.
Yeah. There are some minor bonuses to 2 and 3v1s. To that plus anarchy plus adjacency rules are kind of meant to motivate keeping your line over breaking it up into a checkerboard.
Oh, it looks like this unit is having a bad time. Just being as annoying as possible. I noticed that they've put their archers here because my cavalry is threatening, which is actually quite a nice move. But it's these two down here that are in real trouble.
Yeah, they may shoot you up before you get around there.
Ooh, fragmented. Oh, that is 2 massive hits.
Yeah, it's not just the adjacency, but also the CT bonus for keeping your shield wall in line there. So there's a lot of motivation to maintain the line and not break it up. So that AI didn't have full shield wall.
Hold the line, boys! Full shield wall, how does it work? Says Cherry Busaka.
If you check the forum post, there's a very detailed description, but to go over it briefly, basically for each side you have in shield wall up to both sides, you can get 20 POA per side, so a total of plus 40 POA, which is quite a lot. And if you are in full shield wall, you also get a +1 on cohesion checks. It works for all offensive and defensive spear units, as well as armored, heavy weapon, and impact foot. And the adjacency check is based off of unit positions at the start of their turn. So you kind of have to pick a point at which, but they have to be adjacent to one another at the start of the turn.
Oh! General! Their general's fallen.
Okay, nice. If they're facing orthogonally or kind of like straight on the grid, then the adjacency comes from the obvious, left and right. If they're facing diagonally, they get the adjacency from kind of the front and back, left and right diagonals, if that makes sense. There's an image on the second post of the thread explaining it in detail. And whether or not a unit is adjacency is also shown in the combat log.
Alright, my slingers are actually rallying behind my lines, which is nice.
Cool. Yeah, there are some recent map changes in the code. I'll edit that. Potluck should still work fine. If you do Potluck, you'll still get North European Agricultural. But a few new map types were added, and kind of the indices got mixed up a little.
That's okay. As I explained, like, you know, the latest DLC just came out, so this flank is falling apart here. I'm just wondering whether I should go in with my cavalry and just go for it, or whether I should continue to hold it here in a threatening position.
Go for it. Those cav have armor. They'll probably be able to take a shot or two.
It's just like, so for those that don't play a lot of Field of Glory, there is a lot of value in having a couple of units just being a threat, because the other player has to then defend them, which ties up units that could be doing something else. Like, these archers could be down here shooting at, you know, unengaged units, but they're not because of this cavalry just being sat here.
Worth mentioning, if you see those two units, your two Huskarls there, one unoccupied axe and one occupied spear, on the right there.
These ones.
You see how their flanks are technically exposed? In vanilla, you would be able to get flanks, even though it's sort of like a continuous line. So that's something that the mod removes, is those units in continuous shield wall can't be 90-degree flanked, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so that's treated.
You can't flank by attacking here from here because they're facing here, because they're part of a cohesive wall.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
That always was a bit odd.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of full shield wall, it's normal. But
oh man, this unit would ruin my day. The Ulfendenar.
Yeah, that's like a wolfmen sort of. It's basically berserkers, but it's like a kind of a little different flavor of berserker unit. And then there's also some Bondi units that are called Bondi with berserkers. The idea being that often berserkers weren't their own unit, but it was actually just a couple of berserker men at the front of what is otherwise a normal shield wall unit, and they just give an impact bonus.
Don't know if there's anything I can do to help them. I could slam these boys and bring the cavalry into cover. Let's do it.
Cool.
So now what I've done is I've moved these in here to further pressurize this unit. If this unit then turns for the charge, then the cavalry can countercharge. That's the potential idea. This unit will not get away because it's trapped by 3 units, but this unit may get attacked in the back, but that will instantly be counter-punished by my cavalry coming in from behind. So it's just a bit of chess, really. Go ahead and tie these guys up. Okay, I'm going to turn them around and then go in the back. Oh, that was nasty. Did you see that? Yeah. 12 damage from the slingers on the archers and disrupted. Oof.
It's a particularly good roll because I think they've got a little bit of armor as well.
Oh, they held firm. Oh, they held firm again.
They've got full shield wall there, so they'll last a while. Oh, also worth mentioning, units in full shield wall are much less likely to fall back. So it's kind of the pushback of combat. So you don't break up the shield wall till people start to disrupt.
Hold the line! This shall not pass. Yeah, a line normally falls apart in this game pretty quickly, but here, my line is really holding.
Yeah, visually I thought that was something important to get, like, the aesthetic experience right of the shield wall is the collective effect of these rules is both in terms of what the AI and the automated effects do, as well as the player motivation to to keep the line.
Oh, those archers disrupted my cavalry. Oh,
I'm surprised those berserkers haven't charged. Oh, there they go. Speak the devil. Yeah, they might get through there. Massively advantaged.
I'm surprised. Never mind. You cursed me.
Yeah, see, they technically got a flank there, but it just gives a little bit of a POA advantage. They're not going to auto drop you by somehow flanking in the middle of the line.
No, that's a nice change, actually. This battle would already be mostly over by now if that rule was still in place because of my triple attacks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I give to make up for it, I give a little bit of a bonus to the 3 versus 1, which is again also motivating keeping your line, because if you don't keep your line, then your opponent can 2 and 3v1 you more. So you want to avoid that. The AI is always a bit shambolic when it comes to actually keeping a line, though. Works well in multiplayer. I've had some multiplayer games with this mod with shockingly coherent lines compared to your average multiplayer game.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that you've made a mod that actually works in multiplayer, so you can sit down with a friend and actually play this. You know, most mods are a single player only experience. I'd say 99.9% of mods, as much as that, are just single player experiences. Oh! Run for the hills, you fools.
They'll probably start to break up fast now. We could probably go from 5% to 40 quickly.
Our friend on the corner here is getting murdered. Win 100%. This unit is doomed. Okay, since that side broke, I'm wondering what I should do with my cavalry now.
Probably chase down some whites at least.
I'm just going to fall back because these archers are actually a problem. They won't be a problem when I start surrounding them, but they're a problem right now, if you know what I mean. I don't want to charge in and then just be mobbed, you know?
Yeah. You might be able to push them onto your infantry line if you line it up.
I mean, the Vikings are getting murdered in my line right now, so there's no pressure for me to do anything dynamic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
These guys are going to charge me in the back now, that's the only problem. Man, this unit got slammed by enemy archers.
You can definitely get disrupted a little bit faster than in vanilla with the moderately increased effectiveness of shooting.
Oh man, they are really holding. Oh, that went badly for me. I think it's time to bring my elite troops in to help against these berserkers.
Yeah, those berserkers could roll your lineup if they break those General Third.
Oh, they are. They're kicking the asses of these General Fried here. I mean, I'm being a little bit greedy here, right? You know, not wanting to lose anything. Disaster! He panicked and dropped 2 cohesion levels.
Yeah, that Huskarls with General versus General Third was not going to last long. And yeah, the shield wall rules do apply, of course, to all factions. So you get them, say, if you want to do Pictish spears versus the Romans or something, or the earlier Dark Ages.
I'm just doing my best here to keep their archers busy with my slingers. Instead of being, you know, doing something effective like shooting at my actual linesmen.
Yeah. Oh, they've moved those bowmen up though. You can't take that flank now.
Yeah. The mistake is made.
Oh, they held. You could get a flank in there probably then. Oh, they might break on the others breaking though. Oh, they held again.
Halt the line! Oh, the general on the left is disrupted. That central unit has taken so many losses. I'm wondering if it will auto-break due to size soon. That's not a rule that you've changed at all, is it?
No, auto break's still in. Yeah. But definitely a unit like that in full adjacency that's a decent quality unit that manages to not disrupt, they might go to auto break.
These boys are about to be in the bad zone. You're about to receive the bad touch. Ah, so annoying.
Yeah, I'd probably turn to face those bowmen. Those spears might be disrupted and are taking down the fragmenting with another turn of shooting there.
Wow, these guys are getting butchered. 69 of 114. They're very close to auto break.
Yeah, they're down to one line, it looks like. Also worth mentioning, I've got there's kind of a sister mod to this one, the Ancient Greek mod, which also makes use of the shield wall adjacency type of rules, but for hoplite rather than Dark Ages shield wall combo.
Cool.
And there's a kind of a casual historical campaigns tournament being run by Cronenblatt on the forums using this mod, where he's kind of got a map of Britain and you know, it's Anglo-Saxons versus Vikings basically.
Oh, that's it.
Participate in that one. Yeah, they're done there. And then you can take maybe I'll take 2 flanks there soon.
Getting wrecked on the corner here. Oh, double fragmentation. It's going to be interesting to know what the Wolfen do, as it were.
Almost certainly anarchy. They may even anarchy those slingers away.
Oh, that's fine. They can. The slingers are bait. I just don't want them to take a left turn into my units. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There are some rules around anarchy to make it a little bit less annoying. Like a unit won't anarchy charge the same enemy unit 2 turns in a row, and 2 enemies won't anarchy chain charge the same unit on the same turn. If that makes sense. So you can't just drag an enemy unit all the way across the map with 1 light flip or whatever.
You've thought of everything.
Well, more experience figured it out as I implemented. I did not think of it originally.
Oh,
They anarchied them. Yeah.
and they turned around as well after doing so.
Yeah, they broke them on contact there, so they're not too far away. Oh my.
It's getting messy.
Yeah.
Oh, their general's in big trouble. Yeah, I noticed units holding until they run out of men, which is unusual in the base game.
Yeah, if a unit's in full adjacency and is a decent quality, it has a pretty good chance of holding out like that. But if they're not in adjacency and they get flanked like that, they might triple draw. So it's kind of everything built around definitely trying to keep that line. That's also part of the motivation for letting the archers shoot through non-lights not in combat, so you don't have to, because otherwise mixed bowman spearman army play some kind of strange grid games to let their bows shoot and then kind of non-lights run in front of them at the last minute. You don't have to do that here.
Okay, these boys are about to receive the bad touch. Unless they turn around, but if they turn around, they can't help their friends. I wonder if I should hit the berserkers in the back. It's risky though, because this unit, while not a very good unit, it could charge in.
Yeah. Do you want to take the flank, or do you want to have to take the the Ulfhedner on the nose, because you'll kind of neutralize a Berserker unit if you hit them with the initial attack on the flank, because that's their only advantage is really the impact. You could take that flank there. That one, that'll be an auto drop because they're not in full shield wall. Those General Ferd against their elite unit.
Goodbye. See if I can break their general first, because that's going to change the dice in my favor.
Yeah. It will also increase their global anarchy is affected by the deaths of generals as well. So units are more likely to anarchy in general if the commander-in-chief is dead.
Alright, these archers are in big trouble now. There's nowhere for them to go. And all of these units have just gotten freed. Our lost general is in a world of hurt right now. The middle of my line is crumbling here, but this unit that I kept in reserve should be able to keep these units in check and prevent things from getting out of hand. Okay. The archers charged and they lost horribly. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, they should have been advantaged. Yeah, slightly advantaged there.
Okay, they've tied themselves up. That means my elite unit is free to do as it wills. Oh man, I am not getting kills here.
The game does round, the math does round down to the nearest, so even if you see 0 fractional, technically the math went back.
Fractional people are dying!
Yeah, fractional people are dying.
1/3 of a guy died.
In vanilla, you normally only notice that like with elephants, but these are kind of smaller sized units.
That's the thing about, you know, 1/3 of a man, Pete. He always knew when to split. Alright, that should take some pressure off. This unit will be my next victim. Right, let's see if we can get this general out of this fight. Well, he's going to break from losses. Bosh! Turning this unit around so I can bring it round the back. It's always funny to me how archers on foot somehow escape cavalry on on horseback. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get away? I don't understand. There's no way foot archers could possibly escape cavalry.
The mod actually alters their ability to escape a little bit. It's definitely something where I'm not sure what the ideal solution is. What the description I've heard of it is that what you're looking at visually is kind of an abstraction of really the Lightfoot are supposed to be scattering all over the place, and if they get caught or not is like did they successfully scatter all over the place and generally avoid the cavalry. But visually they stay in one square. If that sort of makes sense.
Wow, these archers are getting murdered by my skirmishers. In case people are wondering, the reason why I'm doing the fights in a certain order is you want to do the fights that you're winning first. Because if you win them, or disrupt the enemy, or kill a general or whatever, it can then make the fights that you're not winning go more in your favor. Whereas if you do the fights that you're losing first, you can then take morale damage potentially on other units, which then causes you to lose fights you would have won. So the actual order that you do your fights in is quite important. Man, those berserkers are quite the unit.
Did they disrupt your Alderman's Guard? Looks like.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. An elite unit, though, like the Alderman's Guard, will likely recover. I think you've got this wrapped up anyway.
Maybe. Hopefully.
I think I've locally fixed that map issue as well. Should be able to push a change.
Look at that, man. You're updating your mods during the stream.
That's right. Hopefully you can't hear my keyboard going off.
Oh, another unit bites the dust. This unit is doomed. Slamming the archers here. Unfortunately, all these units, are going to take a turn to recover from the fight they were in.
Because you can't rally outside of command range, to balance it a bit, the odds of rallying on any given turn if you are in command range are slightly higher. Quick note.
Cool. Well, apart from this little pocket of units in the center here, the enemy is more or less destroyed, and this little pocket of units in the center have sort of become the meat in my wall of men sandwich.
Yeah, the shield wall always breaks up eventually.
I think this is their last general here. Oh, the archers got caught. Armored riders massively advantaged versus light archers. Goodbye. Goodbye, light archers. Okay, there's not much left for me to do. This unit is well and truly smashed, but I guess it will just have to sit there. They broke. Oof. They're sort of fighting back a bit here.
Yeah, you've got them at exactly 25. I bet it's over this turn.
Oh, disruption at the top. Oh, fragmented. Anarchy charge! Oh, the enemy. They have lost heart. Alright. I think that went pretty cleanly, don't you think?
Yeah, there's definitely a discernible, coherent line there. I wish visually it was North European agricultural, but I've actually just uploaded that fix. So if
you just uploaded a fix.
Yeah, if you download it now, it should be good.
Do you want me to show that terrain, do you? The special terrain that you made? We can do that. Why not? Why not?
No, I didn't make any special terrain. I just mean the vanilla North European agricultural.
Oh, okay. Alright, well, there's no need to show that. I'm sure people who play this game a lot know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Edmund has potential, says Yogic Fire. Do you know him?
No.
You must not know of me, Yogic, if you say that I have potential. Have you seen my YouTube channel recently? Oh man. Okay, so cool. Anything else you want to say about your mod while we're here? I'll put the link in the
Yeah,
Twitch once again.
Link in the description. Sister mod, the Ancient Greek mod, similar shield wall rules, but for Ancient Greeks, and quite a few other factions if you want to explore some of the effects of the Anarchy charges, the Refuse charges, the changes to barbarian type nations. Romano-British versus Saxon Raiders is a cool matchup. Norse Gales is an interesting army. So
We can have a
explore little bit.
quick look at the other lists.
Yeah, definitely. I tried to make the list sort of characterful and kind of balance the history with interesting gameplay.
One thing that stuck out to me for sure is that my front line actually stayed pretty coherent for most of that fight.
Yes,
which
and
is
if you
not something
play
that usually happens.
that combined with if you play some of the armies with more cavalry, you'll notice the AI will deploy to one or both strong kind of cavalry wings, and there's some rules around cavalry pursuits and charging into pursuits where you get more of a feel of the cavalry wing one versus the other cavalry wing fighting each other to a conclusion, and the winning wing kind of all flanking together against that coherent line.
So let's have a look at the Welsh, because why not? I'm always mean to the Welsh, so...
Welsh is an interesting army, kind of a little bit unusual tactically, where it's you don't have to bring any non-light foot. You can some kind of lower quality cantref spearmen and some Brythonic foot, but the core of the army is superior noble cavalry plus superior Helwyr hunter archers.
So we have armored. What's this? Olchwyr?
Yeah, it's some kind of Welsh for like a kind of a nobleman, and then Teulu is sort of the chieftain. I'm sure I'm butchering these pronunciations, but and then
Don't worry.
Sort of yeah.
Well, I'm like half Welsh, and believe me, it doesn't require a butcher for the meat to be everywhere when it comes to speaking Welsh.
Okay.
Okay, we have extra generals, and we have Brythonic foot. Brythonic foot, like peasants, really.
Yeah, and it's sort of like some of them are the more mountainous, hilly, or kind of like more ancient style fighting of this Brythonic, but in this period, kind of transitioning a bit of them to a shield wall as well with the cantrips.
So I presume that eager means they're eager to charge.
Yeah, so they've got a decent chance of Anarchy charging if they're not in line, but not that high. Whereas Warrior Anarchy, if you move them within charge range, they're pretty much going to Anarchy charge.
We have Helwyr archers.
Yes, so superior archers, light archers there. So notice this list has no minimum non-light, so you could go all archers and cavalry and kind of do it disrupt and cavalry charge style if you want. Just it's kind of a different tactical flavor there. I try to kind of make the list both historical while also having the kind of distinct play styles.
Well, at least I don't have to worry about wretched pike squares in this game. It's so hard to deal with.
There are the Pictish units. They're medium foot spears, but they don't pike square, and they're not oversized. The oversized unit thing, I think, causes some strangeness with the percentage routed kind of things. Some weird advantages and disadvantages. So they're not oversized. They're not quite able to stand up man for man with the heavy spear wall because they are medium foot and lightly protected, but they're not disordered by terrain, and they've got a lot of lights.
This is a new one on me. Digburga and Finana.
Yeah, these are sort of kind of the landless second sons of aristocrats fighting in a. So they're well equipped, and they're eager, right? They're they got a high elan. There's a few. This is a unit from the Legion's Triumphant tabletop set, but basically because these are landless traveling mercenaries, they feature on a few lists actually to give a little bit of impact foot flavor to a few lists.
Cool. Just sort of trying to highlight units that are particularly, interesting since they're, modded in, as it were.
Yeah.
Crossbows?
Yep. That's the medieval visual there, but the archers and the javelins have the Pictish style in the model. But yeah, the Picts are some of the only people with crossbows in this early period. And then one of those Pictish light horse is actually a non-ranged light horse, so it's kind of a melee-focused light horse. and then they've got a few nobles.
They've got
earlier
crossbows
picks will-
and naked men.
Yes, the earlier picks will have even more naked men and chariots as well. Check out that list. And you'll notice a lot of those Lightfoot will have some secondary melee capability. Kind of part of a theme. Yeah, Caledonians.
I think chariots are weirdly effective in this game. Every time I've used them, they've been really good.
Yeah, they are quite good, and it's often difficult to know exactly what to do about them. They're vulnerable to lancers, but there aren't a lot of lancers.
Worth mentioning the mod. Because of anarchy charges and because lancers tend to be an anarchic type unit, you can't quite get away with the vanilla style line your lancers up in a line and then use them defensively. I don't know if you're familiar with that sort of tactic, because they're so much more effective when being charged where they countercharge. But they're a little bit more effective versus medium foot in the open, so there's some concept of them riding down medium foot in the open.
Who's
Romano
who's
British
Dux Bellorum?
Lord of War, so that's the chieftain unit for the. That's Arthur, basically. You got Arthurian knights. It's highly speculative, also in Legion's Triumphant there, but basically there's some speculation that this legend of Arthurian knights from kind of the early mid-Dark Ages may have been kind of the children and grandchildren of actually cataphract type units that were stationed in Britain, and then they kind of just kept living there after the Roman Empire fell. So it's sort of could be kind of a folk memory of that type of unit. Nobody knows, but...
Well, I must admit that, this is really impressive. So many army lists and so much detail put into them and changes in the system. I actually really like. I like the fact that lines actually hold reasonably. Because I think, one thing with Field of Glory that kind of bugged me at times was how easily a straight line of, say, Legionnaires just broke, because if you charge it from 90 degrees and then you charge it from 90 degrees, even though they're in a straight line, it's possible to flank them and then break them very easily.
Yeah, agreed. That was important to me to
fixing that issue has completely changed the game for me. I'm not sure I can play without that change from now on.
You'll find that the anarchy charges as well, when you play the more anarchic units, change up the feel a lot too. A lot of those very micro moves that are sort of gamey are basically not possible because the unit attacks for you.
Wow, this is quite the army list here for a late Roman garrison in Britain.
Yeah,
was this even a thing?
It was. This is based fundamentally off of another Legion's Triumphant list, but also from taking notes from some other sources. Some of the unit names here are the specific cataphract unit that was garrisoned there. So it's not just called cataphracts. It's Singularis Legati Legionis, Cataphractari Junioris, and then some of those Scythians, Typhali, and then some Foederati cavalry. This is the only list with a lot of lancers, but you'll get some basically mercenary lancers and mercenary warband, as well as the standard late Roman type of.
Have you changed artillery at all? I always find artillery is not very useful for its price.
Yeah, so heavy artillery, and this actually change has gone into vanilla as well, but heavy artillery can move before their first shot. So they're useful because you can move them, and they're quite good against cavalry as well. So I tend to use them because this list is high quality but low quantity by comparison with kind of the massed shield wall or barbarian list. So you're going to have to disrupt and break up their line before they get there. So a couple of bowmen, couple of lightfoot, couple of artillery can help you kind of keep the barbarians at bay there. Break them up with that, charge them with the cataphracts.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we're going to call it there. We're an hour and a half in. It seems pretty reasonable time to stop. Thank you once again for showing us the Dark Ages of Britain mod, which, would you believe, the mod was being improved during the stream, so that's how passionate this man is about improving his mod.
Cool.
I hope you guys enjoyed this. Once the YouTube video is up, of course, all the details will be in the description, and if you pop your comments in the video. I'll link Gabe later when the video goes up. I'll link him to your comments so he can answer your questions there as well. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for putting all your effort into this mod. Honestly, very impressed with the sheer amount of thought and content that has been added here. So that's very cool, and it's easy to install, and of course it's free. It's a mod. Yeah. Any final words?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Try it out. Let me know what you think. I'm always keen to squash bugs, add new cool content, whatever you like. So let me know.
All right. Awesome.